Hey everybody, Aaron Stark here. It has been an amazing couple of months, capped off by an amazing week. And it's been a lot to wrap my head around. When I stack it in front of me, it's a lot. So, for those of you who don't know, I last week went down to West Palm Beach, Florida, and I had the honor of being keynote speaker at a FBI conference relating to mental health and awareness and how to deal, how to address those people in the dark more humanely and look at them like a person and not like an object. And this caps off a couple of months of major media that I've done. I was on CNN a month and a half ago for a 20-minute piece, and then CNN International next week, and then I went out to Texas, spoke to school administrators from the Uvalde School District. It has been absolutely insane. I can't believe that it all started just from me talking on a Facebook post. But this last one was so amazingly fun, man. I got to go. First off, they brought me down to Palm Beach, and it was all paid for. So at least the trip itself, I had to actually bring my own. Yawning. I had to bring my own spending cash. Sorry, I had to bring my own spending cash because they don't, but they were going to reimburse me for like travel and stuff like that, and it was expensive. West Palm Beach is the most expensive place I've ever been, and I have never been in a place that was so absolutely opulent. Like, oh my god! I told my wife before we left that I was going to try to search and find a gift shop, and there are no gift shops in West Palm Beach because that is not a tourist spot. That's just where really rich people live. And my gas station attendant working self is not. I'm assistant manager at a gas station, not the kind of person who normally hangs out in multi-million dollar mansion areas with private beaches. And it was really cool. It was a really, really fun adventure. And then I got to have some really cool conversations with those FBI agents. It was for a BAU threat assessment convention or conference, not convention, threat assessment conference. And it was quite the honor for them to bring me out. I've always dreamed about talking to someone like the BAU. I don't I watch shows like Criminal Minds, and I always was fascinated with human psychology and how things work and how the brain reacts to various stimuli. And then what I'm doing now is just giving me like a real big crash course in all of that. And it's it was really absolutely illuminating and enlightening. I learned so much just about the mechanics of how things work, and it was so cool, so cool. And I had some of the funnest conversations I've ever had. I talked to First off, it was very validating. I have a GED. I don't have a college education, so I hanging out in that room full of those agents and being an equal there even for a minute where they listened to my presentation. And I got to meet the deputy director. That was super cool. It was then hanging out with him afterwards. We all went to a bar for an after party and just seeing all these guys that they deal in their daytime with the worst things possible, the worst of tragedies, and to hang out with them and just watch the way that they laugh and joke and the human feeling that we had talking there. It was really, really, really enlightening. I was just amazed. The response was amazing, and I got to listen to some cool stories, and I got to laugh with some really dark humor. You'd be amazed how much dark humor the PAU has, but you could expect it when you live in that kind of dark and you have to deal with it. That's what you do. You got to look at the light. That's what I do. That's why when I go to my speeches, every time I go to a speech and every time I fly somewhere, I am looking at the fun stuff. I check out the fun light stuff, and I look at the where I'm going to go for my dinner, where I'm going to go for my walks, and look at the plane and check out the flight and all this cool stuff. Because when I get there, what I have to do once I get to my destination is stand up on stage and open my heart out to the entire world and let complete strangers poke and prod me and dig through all of my darkest times. And I do it repeatedly. and I do it openly. And I'll constantly say to every interviewer, if you're going to ask me a question, ask the deepest ones. If you have a deep question, ask that one. If you think it's too personal, ask that question, because that's where the real meat lies. So I literally go into rooms full of hundreds of strangers, and I present, and then I give a full question and answer period that's usually twice as long as the speech itself. And it is it's like intense talk therapy is what it is. Like I'm digging through all of my past, and I'm going through all my history, and it's really powerful. If you have a history like mine, I recommend doing something similar, because it's a good way to get through it. I don't recommend having a history like mine, though, because I don't think anybody should. I hope that you don't have a history like mine. I hope that you're healthy and happy and safe, and that your family loves you, and that you are well cared for, and that someone in your world tells you that you're good. And if no one in your world has told you that you're good today, I'm going to tell you, you're a good person. And I hope everything's good for you. And I hope that tomorrow's a good day for you, too. I, at one time, hated myself and thought that I was nothing. And today, I get to do the most amazing things in the world. And I just got asked to potentially do a next huge thing. And, yeah, everything's coming in waves, man. Coming in waves. My next big speech I have set is at the end of October. I'm flying back out to Texas again, this time going to South Padre Island. I'm going to go talk at a giant mental health conference to 5,000 people. Let's take my family to this one, so I'm not going by myself finally for this trip. And it's going to be really fun. So, anyway, that's been my rant about my trip to Florida. I got to see the ocean, a little bit more of a rant. Got to see the ocean. Ocean was really warm. I didn't expect it to be that warm. The sand was so soft in Florida. It was right on the coast of West Palm Beach. And flying in was really cool. When we flew in, the plane, as we were coming in flying, we came in over the Gulf Coast and turned into the Gulf, and then flew out all the way over the ocean, over the tip of the bottom of Florida, and then flew back up into Fort Lauderdale, because I had to fly into Fort Lauderdale because, of course, the day I fly in is the day that Dallas decides to turn into a swimming pool. Apologies. I hope everybody in Dallas is okay if you had to live through all the flooding, but it really sucked for us who had to fly in that day. So, anyway, I can ramble on forever about the fun stuff that I had and the cool stuff I got to do, and they gave me a comic book. They gave me a comic book. The FBI gave me a comic book because they saw in my interviews that I identify with the character Archangel. And that's this character right here, Archangel. And Archangel is, for those of you who don't know, he's from X-Men. He originally was a blonde-haired, blue-eyed guy with bright white feathered wings, looked like a giant angel. And he got taken by a villain and kidnapped and tortured, and his wings got cut off and replaced with evil metal wings that were living metal, and it was possessed, and then he had to fight against his own demons and make his way out. And he went back to being a hero after he fought his way out of it. And he was always strong identification with me. I always identified with him and Nightcrawler. Nightcrawler was the other one that was huge identification for. And of course, I don't think they could buy me the first appearance of Nightcrawler, because that's Giant Size X-Men #1, and that sells for lots and lots of money. So they got me the X Factor book, and then they all signed it. Sweet. Like I said, I could talk about the cool stuff that happened forever. I got to literally live a dream. I got to live a dream because I talked. Because I talked about my own pain. I opened up about what happened to me and the hurt that happened to me when I was younger, and it made people listen. And the best part about it is it's making other people talk. I cracked a couple shells with these people, and they opened up to me on a human level that, in a way that makes me have an honor that I will not take lightly. This is a privilege that I have, and I thank you all for loving it and supporting it, and for helping me, and for dealing with me, and for putting up with me not being around for months when I'm just sitting on, not doing anything with YouTube. Thank you guys. Thank you for supporting me, and stay tuned. There's a lot more coming. A lot more. Like a lot more. So, you are not alone. Love you guys. Bye.